write these messages that would go across these little tiny screens. Well, but that's like going into a meeting and somebody standing up in the middle of the meeting saying, "This is exciting. I will like him." That's what it's like. Thank goodness they're nice messages. What if they're not? What about those brochures? Brittany, did you talk to Bo Short about being out of those brochures? I can't believe we ran out of those brochures. This is the best one we've had in how long? And he personally ran out of brochures. Right? I get it. But that's what you're going to be, listen, so mine was before there were cell phones. 18 hours one way for a no-show. I literally cried 4 hours the way home. Literally. I wanted to win so bad I could taste it. I wanted to be successful so bad I could taste it. I can remember driving into my driveway at 3. I used to drive to Atlanta, Georgia, Atlanta, Georgia. I'd drive up there, do a meeting for an hour, do a coffee for an hour, get in the car and drive back home, Tampa, Florida, the same night. 16, 17 hours, round trip, to do a 1-hour meeting and have an hour of coffee. Bad coffee, I may add. Happy coffee. Bad coffee. And I would sit there and I'd get in the car and I would be so tired on the way home. The last hour I'd pull into every rest area on 75, every rest area I could find. And I would lay down and it was blazing hot outside. It's the only place in the world where it's midnight and it's 108 degrees. And I'm sitting there driving down. I've got my air conditioner blasting, my car's running. I've got an alarm clock because I got to go to work. And I'd have this alarm clock, and all of a sudden I'd go, right when I was asleep, the alarm clock would go up, and I would wake up, and my car was running, and I'm scared to death thinking I fell asleep while I was driving. And I would drive to the next rest area, and I remember pulling into my neighborhood, and I lived in a beautiful neighborhood. I had a judge that lived in my neighborhood. I had these people, and I remember in Tampa, there was this joke about the goober snoozers. Some of you from Tampa, years ago, they stopped the goober smoochers, and they were the hoity-toity people, and I had some really nice hoity-toity people around me. And I remember I was the youngest guy in the neighborhood, and I remember pulling in my driveway at 3:30 in the morning, and I was so fed up. I was so angry. I wanted to win so bad. I was only a few hours from having to get up and go to work. I walked down the street of my driveway, yelling at my neighbors, "I will not be like you. I will not be like you." To win. Just wanted to win. A few months later, probably 3 of my neighbors were in business with me. And not because I was yelled at. Thank goodness they didn't hurt me. Here's what I want you to think about. As you go out of here, as you go home, the people you meet in this journey, the people you meet through this process will define you, not by what you say, but by what you do. By what you do. I told the Diamonds and Above earlier, this isn't about what you have. This is about who you are. This is who you are. This is, go through it. Go through it. As horrible as it feels sometimes, it's worth everything to go through this. It's the most liberating thing in the world to know that there's not anyone that can hold you down. I've never figured out what's worse. I have traveled into 34 countries around the world. I have been to countries that cannot assemble like this and say the word freedom. Can't do it. And I don't care what we go through in this country, as upside down as it is sometimes. However you seal that, I don't care, because it's upside down to all of us. But I've never figured out what's worse. To be in a country with a boot on your neck by a government or a military, and you can hardly breathe, and you're dying to stand up and be free, and there's a boot on your neck, and you can't do it. Or to be in the freest country in the world, being the greatest nation on earth, in spite of all of her problems, with no boot on your neck. I've never figured out what's worse. It's like to be unable to get up because there's a boot on your neck, or unwilling to get up without a boot on your neck. But people are going to define you by what you do. Irma Bombeck wrote, when I stand before God at the end of my life, I would hope that I would not have a single bit of talent left and would say, I used everything you gave me. What are they going to say about you based on what you do? What are they going to say about you, personally you? This isn't about somebody sitting next to you. This isn't about your upline. This is about you. Look for role models. Look for role models. Look for people that you don't want to be just like them, but they have qualities that you like. And you aspire to develop some of those qualities. That's what I did. I figured out, you knucklehead, you don't know. Be quiet. Listen to people that know. Do what they tell you to do. Alfred Korzybski was a semanticist, and he coined a phrase called time binding. And the phenomenon is this: the knowledge gained by others binds us together so that when one moves forward, we all move forward. That's the power of this room. That's the power of your great leaders. That's the power of binding yourself to their knowledge. He talks about Alexander the Great used to carry Homer's book, the Iliad, everywhere he went, and he would read it over and over again because what the knowledge that someone else has binds us together so that when one moves forward, we all move forward. Martin Luther King studied the life of Gandhi, and Gandhi read the works of Tolstoy. Thomas Aquinas read the works of St. Augustine. Napoleon read Plutarch's Lives over and over again. Robert E. Lee patterned his life after George Washington. The Wright brothers were inspired by a French aviator and an inventor that they admired that talked about flight. Milton studied the ancient works of Virgil. Plato took from Socrates and Aristotle from Plato. Einstein from Newton and Newton from Galileo. That's all this is. Brittany stands on stage and says, do this. And you must. Because if you do what she tells you, what Brittany tells you, you will have it. Over and over. It's art plus science plus consistent effort. Art plus science times consistent effort equals success. Just do enough of the right things. Just enough of the right things. How much do I do? Enough of the right things. Well, what do you mean? Most people do enough of the wrong things. Or they don't do enough of the right things. Don't throw mud against the wall. Do enough of the right things. Well, when you go up to somebody and say, excuse me, could you help me? I have a way I do it, Bo. Well, then don't tell me it doesn't work. But I do it my way. Great. Don't tell me it doesn't work then. I'm telling you, if you do it a certain way, you'll get certain results. Because you can't do anything alone. You can't. Great things happen in teams. Great things happen when people come together. I remember sitting in John Maxwell's office when he was sitting in the studio when they were recording something. We're sitting there, and he said, you know, you can climb a hill in your backyard and no one cares, but when you summit Mount Everest, everyone talks about it. They write books about it. Bo, you will never accomplish anything great alone. You will accomplish great things together as a team. A few months later, I was sitting backstage getting ready to speak at an event. I'd written a book called The Foundation of Leadership, and I'm getting ready to go teach on the book and leadership principles and all that. And I'm with a guy, his name is Eric Weinmeier. He was the first blind climber to summit Mount Everest. I'm going to talk about leadership and success and perseverance and all this stuff. He's going to talk about climbing Mount Everest totally blind. You tell me which is more compelling. I'm sitting there, I walked over to him, I said, Eric, my name is Bo Short, listen, I've heard about your story. How did you do it? And he said to me, I didn't. We did. I go, what do you mean? He goes, I can't see. He said, when it was scary, I couldn't see it, but I could feel it. And when I felt it the most, I knew something was wrong, and at that moment, I would feel somebody's hand on my right foot move at 6 inches. Then I felt somebody else's hand on my left foot move at 6 inches in front of my right foot. And we would do that for hours. He goes, I didn't summit Mount Everest. We summited Mount Everest. Brittany got recognized for being a Triple Crown. And Brittany will say, yes, I did the work. And yes, I was going to do whatever it takes. But we did it. We did it. For the Happy Code to become the great company it is destined to become. And if you doubt it, sit down and watch. Because I'm telling you now, I I didn't come here to waste my time, and God didn't put you in this seat to waste yours either. You're You have to look at what they model. You have to look at what Chris modeled. You got to look at what the leaders model, what your ambassadors model. Artists such as Leonardo da Vinci, Raphael, Rembrandt, they all watched each other. They all learned from each other. You look at political leaders, Constantine the Great, Gandhi, George Washington. What was it about these people that separated them? What set them apart? What were the common traits of these achievers? What did they do? Military leaders such as Julius Caesar, Alexander the Great, Genghis Khan. There was something about each one of them that was unique. But when you looked at them overall, you saw similarities. You saw similar achievements in the way they behaved. Writers, scientists, innovators, philosophers, religious leaders. Let me give you four simple things if you want to set yourself apart. If you want to walk on stage, if you want to collect your life's trophy, if you want to accomplish the things you're supposed to accomplish. Let me give you four things. We can do another talk tomorrow. I'll give you four more, and another after that, and I'll give you four more. But let me tell you about the four common traits of these achievers. Number one is focus. Focus. Great achievers are not always easy to live with. Your spouse ever said to you, take a break. Come on. Let me give you some advice. Take a break. Take a break sometime. When you go to your children's soccer games, don't look at your cell phone. Take a break. It's hard enough. The whole idea, you don't want to say, I went Triple Crown, let me tell you my story. We hardly paid our bills on time, so I decided to do this. And when I got in this, I never saw my kids again. I grew apart from my spouse. That's not the story. Take a break. Turn it off. If your kids say, Mom, come watch the movie with us, watch the movie. Don't watch the movie like this on your phone. Watch the movie. There's plenty of time to go Crown. There's plenty of time to be a Triple Crown. There's time in your life. Take time. But don't make excuses for why you're not doing your business either. Oh, but my Tampa Bay, they're going for a repeat. I gotta watch it. No, you don't. If they get there, you'll know about it. You can watch it. Great achievers. They're focused. And sometimes they feel obsessed. You ever felt obsessed, Brittany? You ever felt obsessed? You ever feel, me too. But there's seasons for obsession. There's seasons for calm. Everything is a season. In the course of your day, there's multiple seasons. Learn how to juggle the seasons. But have a focus. Have a focus. You know, you'll have time, sometimes you'll have family members. When you're in it together, if your spouse is there with you, if they're building with you, great. If they're not building with you and they're supportive of you, great. But sometimes you'll have people in your distant family that will say, is this all you do? What you want to say is, look, this is all I do now, so I don't have to live my life never seeing my family. Amen. So I don't have to live my life chasing an income forever. Yeah, this is all I do now. What am I going to do? Watch TV? If something happens in the world, I'm going to hear about it. Number one is focus, 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 focus. A laser focus. When I drew up those things to begin with, you're focused, you'll get them done. And if you miss it, you don't beat yourself up. But you said 24 consecutive months. Well, let's say it takes you 7 months to get into the rhythm. That's 31 months. Is that okay? Where are you going to be in 31 months from now anyway? Think about it. Keep it in perspective. Second thing they have in common is preparedness. They're prepared. I spent a lot of time repeating the same thing. It's called practice. They're prepared. Ferdinand Magellan decided early on he wanted to sail the seas. So what did he do? He studied geography, navigation, astronomy, the things that would prepare him for his life's work. It's the things, it's the reading. When I say read, if you don't like to read, get over it, read. Truly, get over it, read. If I had to go through that pain, you must also go through it. I read this quote I thought so powerful. Readying oneself for the moment is inherent in all great achievement. Readying yourself for your moment. You will have a moment, and the moment is a trigger. It's a trigger moment. You go to an event. Maybe this one, it may not be this one, but there'll be a moment that triggers something inside of you where I'm in. I get it. I'm going to do it. Benjamin Disraeli said, the secret of success in life is for a man or a woman to be ready for their time when it comes. When it comes. Heaven forbid your time approaches you, and because you're not ready, you don't see it and embrace it. You ever watch Shark Tank? You ever watch Shark Tank? I love Shark Tank. I ended up owning a concrete company one time because I watched Shark Tank one day. And Kevin O'Leary, he does this thing where he says, I'll tell you what, I don't want any shares of the company. I don't want to own equity. I want to run. I had a guy come up to me, and it wasn't a little bit of money. He needed a lot of money. He said, listen, I'll make you a shareholder. I said, I don't want to be a shareholder. I don't want to have any equity, but I want 4 cents out of every dollar that comes in through the door. Only 4 cents? 4 cents is all I want. I'll do it. I ended up owning a carbon concrete company one day. 4 cents is a lot of money out of a dollar when you're doing millions and millions and millions of dollars in sales. But I'm watching Shark Tank. You ever been watching Shark Tank? And these people come on and they say, okay, here's our idea. This is our idea. And they tell their idea. And they show a little prototype that's not real good, but it's okay. And they tell their idea. The sharks go, wow, that's a good idea. And you sit there and you say, Sally, come in here now. That was my idea. Done that? That was my idea. Do you know there's thousands of people in America that night watching Shark Tank, and that was my idea. People have the same idea all the time. And some people prepare themselves for the moment when it comes. It's not about having the idea. It's about acting on the idea. It's about doing something about the idea. You want to go Triple Crown, you don't go from 0 to Triple Crown. You go from 0 to miserable. And then you go from 0 to, I feel better about myself. And then you go from 0 to, I'm worthy. And then you go Triple Crown. It's all this is. Preparedness. The third thing is perseverance. I hate this one. I hate this one more than anyone. Because this is the one that you don't, this is the one where if you own a traditional business and it's 5 o'clock, all of a sudden all your employees are filing out of the office at 4:59. Why can't they stay till 5:01? Why can't they at least make me feel good about me? Stay like, oh, they're nice to me all day, then at 4:59 they leave. Perseverance. I wrote a book called Living to Win. Then I talk about 5 key attributes of leadership and success: vision, courage, perseverance, responsibility, and character. And in it I talk about perseverance. I don't like it. Perseverance is you develop when they leave. Perseverance is not developed at an event. Everybody, yeah, I'm tired, but yeah. You're going to do it, I'm going to do it. You're going to try that thing, I'll try it. You try it, I'll try it. Okay, you do it 20 times. You got to promise me I'll do it 20 times if you do it 20 times. This isn't perseverance. Perseverance is tomorrow night when you're at home by yourself, in front of your phone, looking at it, and you're alone, and you feel completely insignificant. That's where you develop perseverance. Think about George Washington. George Washington, now let's lay this out there. George Washington didn't win a lot of battles. He won the war. He didn't win a lot of battles. He won the war. You understand the difference? No, yes. No. You're not going to win the battles, but you can win the war. George Washington, at one point during the Revolutionary War, when he was walking out in front of his troops and they were freezing and they were starving and most of them hadn't been paid, he didn't know what do you say? What do you say? as a human being. You're leading people into failure after failure after failure. They're not even being paid, most of them. They're freezing. They want to go home. They weren't fighting as Americans, they were fighting as Virginians and Hampshiremen and Marylanders. What do you say to these people? This insignificant man walked out in front of these people, looked at them and said this: "Let only Americans stand watch this night." And with one statement from someone that felt very much alone and very insignificant, it gave breath to the Declaration of Independence. One of the greatest speeches in the history of this country was Martin Luther King Jr. at the steps of the Lincoln Memorial. And as he gave his "I Have a Dream" speech, and what people don't know is Mahalia Jackson, the great singer, at one point during the speech, because he wrote the speech the day before, and he had this one part that he didn't know what would fit in there. He didn't know what to say. And so when he got up to give his speech, as he was giving this incredible speech, he came to this one point in his speech, and he kind of stumbled, and Mahalia Jackson leaned over and said, "Tell him about your dream, Martin."
Oh, wow.
"I have a dream." And during that speech, he quoted from the same Declaration of Independence of the United States of America, where years earlier, one guy walked out alone and insignificant and said, "Let only Americans stand watch this night." In 1989, in Tiananmen Square in China, kids were shot and run over by their own people. And when they picked these people up and threw them in wheelbarrows and carted them away, clenched in their hands was the Declaration of Independence of the United States of America. Yeah, you're going to feel insignificant. What are you going to do about it? Let only Americans stand watch this night. Perseverance, perseverance. Number 4, you have a sense of a higher purpose. You have a sense of a higher purpose. Abraham Lincoln stated that he felt like he was a vehicle for God's work. When Handel composed the Messiah, he said that he disappeared and the work was created by a power far greater than himself. And listen, all great achievers, they're not all faithful people, but they had a sense of a higher purpose. They had something that was in them calling them to do something greater. Patrick Henry, March 23, 1775, "The next gale that sweeps from the north will bring to our ears the clash of resounding arms. Our brethren are already in the field. Why stand we here idle? What is it that gentlemen wish? What would they have if life so dear or peace so sweet as to be purchased at the price of chains and slavery? Forbid it, Almighty God, I know not what course others may take, but as for me, give me liberty or give me death." It's a sense, it's a compelling sense. It's not about going triple crown. It's about coming to a point in your life that you stand up and you say, "I matter. My family matters. Watch me. Watch me. I'm going to do this." John F. Kennedy, September 1962, said, "We choose to go to the moon. We choose to go to the moon in this decade and to do other things, not because they're easy, but because they are hard, because that goal will serve to organize and measure the best of our energies and skills, because that challenge is one that we are willing to accept." Winston Churchill, June 18, 1940. "Hitler knows that he will have to break us in this island or lose the war. If we can stand up to him, all Europe may be free and the light of the world may move forward into broad sunlit uplands. But if we fail, then the whole world, including the United States, including all that we have known and cared for, will sink into the abyss of a new dark age, made more sinister and perhaps more protracted by the lights of perverted science. Let us therefore brace ourselves to our duties, and so bear ourselves that if the British Empire and its Commonwealth last for 1,000 years, men will still say, this was our finest hour." You know, I go through this long thing, talking about practice, talking about repetition, talking about using these words, talking about this focus, preparedness, perseverance, and a calling of something higher. God put you here to be significant. You were placed on this earth for a reason. You matter. Last thing. December 14th, 1996. I was in a single engine airplane. Don't even worry. December 14th, 1996, I was on a single engine airplane, Cessna 210 Turbo. And I was flying from Florida up to Washington, D.C. to have a Christmas party for part of my team. That was my mom's team. My mom was a builder. My mom was a builder. My mom is like my wife. My wife is this incredible human being. Just this incredible human being. And she reminds me, so she says things my mom says. She loves, just incredible. And I was flying up to Washington, D.C. There were 6 of us on board, and we were going to fly up to have a Christmas party for my mom's team. And I'm not a pilot, but I'm a type A, and I wanted to sit in the co-pilot seat, like it mattered, right? Put me here. I have no idea what to do, but put me here. And I'm sitting in the co-pilot seat, and I have the headphones over, flying up to see my mom. By the way, we're all from Georgia originally. So my mom would call you sugar. You would be sugar. You would be sugar. You would be sugar. You would be sugar. My mom used to sit there before she passed away, and she used to rub the back of my neck, and she used to say, "I love you so good, Bobo." I remember before she died, I remember I was a grown man. I had my own daughter, and I remember her rolling up. She goes, "You've always been my teddy bear, Bobo." I'm telling you right now, y'all listen to me. If there's somebody in your life you haven't apologized to, go apologize to them. If there's somebody else you didn't tell them you love them, go tell them you love them. Let it go. Let it go. You got to grow. You got to get better. And I'm telling you, one way to get better is to let it go. Release some stuff. Some of you got stuff. You got to release the stuff. I'm not saying you got to be friends with people that may have hurt you. I'm saying you've got to release it, though. You got to give grace to people and start with giving it to yourself. You're going to mess up. You're going to do some things. I should never have said that. I should never have done that. And you can live your life in misery about all the things you should never have done. Or you can live an incredible, fulfilled life by forgiving yourself for things you've done. And I'm on this airplane, and we're flying up to be with that incredible woman that on her day before she died. The day before she died, she had me in her arms. She goes, "Bobo, I taught you children how to live. I'm going to teach you how to do this right too." This was the most incredible woman in the world. We're flying up to see my mom, and I'm on this plane, and I remember we were at 11,000 feet, and we were flying over houses, trees, and power lines, and we were coming in, and we were still a couple hours from my mom's house, from the airport, and we were dropped down to about 5,000 feet, and I just watched the pilot, and the pilot was he got really quiet, and I couldn't understand why he was getting quiet. And then all of a sudden he goes, "We've got to land and get some fuel." I went to 5,000 feet. This sound stopped. And the propeller was still turning, but it was this sound. And the engine stopped. 5,000 feet in the air over houses, trees, and power lines. And I've got the headphones on, and I hear the pilot get on this tower. He says, "Tower, this is Cessna 1929 Mike. We've had engine failure. We've had engine failure." And the tower says, "I got you, I see you, I'm going to clear everybody in the holding pattern. You're going to make it. You're going to make it." I was giving a speech in Charlottesville, Virginia, because that's where we crashed. I was giving a speech in Charlottesville, Virginia one night. And I was telling this story about this air traffic controller that said, "I've got you, I'm going to clear everybody in the holding pattern. You're going to make it. You're going to make it." And 300 people in the room, and this guy raised his hand in the back of the room. Nobody ever interrupts this story. And this guy raised his hand in the back of the room. And I said, "What?" He said, "That's not what I said." And I said, "Who are you?" He goes, "I was the air traffic controller on that flight. That's not what I said." I said, "What did you say?" He said, "I said, you're not going to make it. You're not going to make it." I remember standing there, and just tears started streaming down my face. Because I heard him say, "You're going to make it. He said, I've got the tape. It's not what I said. I knew you weren't going to make it. But you hear what you have to hear to get where you're trying to go in life. Listen to me. You're going to make it. 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 And I remember we were there, and all of a sudden, as we're coming down, we weren't going to make it to the runway. And we're over this house of trees and power line. There's this white house on this roof I knew we were going to go into. And if we go into it, there's no coming back. And I remember as we're going over, we cleared that roof. And the tower came and said, put your landing gear down, put your landing gear down. And the pilot wouldn't put the landing gear down. I couldn't figure out why. And being a Type A personality, especially back then, I know where the landing gear is. I almost reached over to put the landing gear down, and if I did, I'd kill us all. Because we cleared the last power line by 12 inches. And if I pulled the landing gear down, it would have pulled the plane and dropped it. And we'd have flipped over the power line. Right when we cleared the power line, he threw the landing gear down, and the only field in any site was this field that God put for us to land. And we slammed into the ground, and it felt like we just slammed in the ground and stopped. And we actually slammed and skidded 150 feet. And the plane was totaled. And there's actually a reason I'm telling you the story. Virgil was called the greatest poet in ancient Rome. Raphael was the prince of painters. Chopin was the poet of music. They changed the way we see the world. Wilbur Wright put us in a plane and took us over the ground up high for the very first time, over trees for the very first time. They changed our perspective. They changed how we saw things. And each one of them died before they were 50 years old. You don't have time. If you're 18 years old, don't you dare wait till you think you'll have credibility when you're 28, because when you're 28, you won't think you have credibility till you're 38. When you're 38, you won't think you have enough credibility till you're 48. If you're 75 years old, don't wait till you're 85 years old. Now. Do it now. Moliere said all men are alike in their dreams and all men are alike in the promises they make. What makes them different is what they do. It's not what you say, it's what you do that separates you. And when you go home from here and you go to do this and you go to meet somebody and you go to pick up phone and you go through your fear, I understand it. Your leaders understand it. Do it anyway. If somebody you know says to you, I don't think you can do it, I'm telling you, you can do it. 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 Whatever you have to go through, do it. I came here by choice. You came here by choice. I came to the happy go to be with you. Because I got to tell you, there's nobody else out there like you. There's wonderful people in this industry. Wonderful people. But there's no one out there like you. You're sitting with a Rembrandt in your hand. You've got, do we mess up? Yeah. We just went into a new system. No problems there. I know. Right? God bless you, Brittany Beck. Oh, I've got a list. Thank you. Sincerely, thank you. Let's get it worked on. But you still have a Rembrandt. If you owned a Rembrandt, you would walk in your house You bought an art, you bought a Van Gogh or a Picasso or a Rembrandt. You would go in your house, you would clear everything off. This one wall, this big wall, you'd clear everything off. And you'd put your Van Gogh on that wall. And you'd buy special lights and you'd shine them on your Van Gogh. You'd take your sofa, you'd put your TV facing the other way, you'd put your sofa in front of the Van Gogh. You'd try to come home from work as early as you could. You'd grab a glass of wine or unwind, and you'd take it, and you'd turn on your lights right home from work, and you'd sit in the sofa and go, kind of Van Gogh. Your friends would come over and you'd say, come here, you gotta see it, sit there. That's a Van Gogh. And then what happens, and it always happens. It's inevitable that it happens. What's going to happen? Over time, you come home from work a little late, and you don't turn on the light anymore. It's a pain. You know what it is. You turn the chair back around facing the TV. And then one day somebody, some stranger, walks into your house. And they're walking by this hallway, and they see this thing out of the corner of their eye because it's dark. And they come to you and they say, is that what I think it is? And you go, what do you mean? Is that a Van Gogh? You go, yeah, come here. And let me turn yourself around. I got these lights for you. Turn these lights on. Let me get you a Coke. And you sit there. That's a Van Gogh. And you see it all over again through their eyes. You have a work of art in the Happy Cup. You have it. Don't forget it. Are you going to get frustrated with things we do right and things we don't wrong? Yes. And for the things we do wrong, from the bottom of my soul, I'm sorry. We will fix it. I give you my word, I didn't come here to play games with this. I have less time in front of me than I have behind me, and the best time of my life is in front of me. And I'm not here to play games with you, and I'm not here to play small with you. I'm here, it is for my dreams came true in my life. And I'm so convicted that anybody that's man or woman to stand up and pursue their dreams will come true too. You are sitting in a work of art. Cherish it. You can do 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 it. And you must. God bless you. Thank you.